friends. And you're calling it a club instead of a bar. You, walking stereotype, Jemmy scoffed. There's another problem right there. He put a fist to his heart. Damn, girl, where's your head at? We are not just a bar. We are the it place in the warehouse district. Despite our protestations, we were fully aware he knew what he was talking about. Jemmy was the money and the brains, and Sean was the heart. Jemmy always ceded to him in matters of style. Music spilled out from inside the bar in spite of the early hour. I pounded on the door, hoping Jemmy would hear me. When no answer came, I second-guessed my decision to go there. I had to call my mom. Oh God, it was going to be awful. It had been hard enough making the calls to find out information about everything. I hardly ever spoke to my dad and sister, yet the burden would probably fall on me to tell them the news. I pulled out my phone and steadied my fingers to text Jemmy. I needed moral support. The music stopped, and the door opened. My! Jemmy used her Puerto Rican-influenced term of endearment for me. What fun! What are you doing here? When I didn't answer, her cheerful expression changed as she pulled me inside. Instead of leading me to her office, she directed me to the bar, had me sit on a stool, then rounded to the other side to pour me a drink. What'll it be? A Coke. She filled a glass with ice, and before picking up the soda gun, she reached for a bottle of Jim Beam. And with a shot? I shrugged and let her decide. She mixed the bourbon with the Coke, slid the glass over, and leaned forward on the bar, the beads at the end of her electric green highlighted box braids clattering on the surface like thrown dice. What happened? I told her about my brother, and she asked all the right questions. She asked how I felt, of course, but knowing me as well as she did, she also wondered if I had guilt over not feeling more upset than I did. How can I help? She asked. You can help by telling me how in the world I'm going to raise Brian's kids. His kids? Oh, wow. Sure you don't want me to make this drink a double? I managed a brief smile and shook my head. When do you get them? Next Tuesday, unless plans change with the memorial. They're staying with a woman named Lynette and her husband Dan up in Duluth. We agreed, well, she suggested, and I agreed, they should stay with them until we get things squared away down here with the funeral and everything. Is it up to me to figure out all these arrangements? I haven't called anyone yet, Jem. How am I supposed to talk to the kids? How am I supposed to do any of it? I don't know how to raise kids. I've never wanted to learn how. Why would Brian and Elaine leave them with me? Jemmy held my hand. You've always told me how much you like filling in with the childcare room at the community center, and my nephews love when they get to see you. My head dropped, and I dug my hands into my hair before they fell again to the bar. I reached for the stack of coasters nearby. In fact, when I filled in at the childcare room from time to time, I enjoyed myself. I considered the times I spent in the childcare room as I mindlessly built a structure with the bar coasters. I liked to play Legos, blocks, and cars with the kids, or read stories to them. Little Grace had sat in my lap as we read Fox and Socks. She giggled each time I took a deep breath to rattle out the tongue-twisting verses. I didn't dislike kids. They said funny things and loved it when people played anything with them. However, liking children and wanting to have them myself meant different things. Unfortunately, most people didn't understand the concept. Friends, family, and strangers often found my womanhood lacking because I didn't want children, which also surely meant I didn't like them. That often led to opinion number 2. I must be terrible with them. On the other hand, if a kid did like me, we would close the conversation circle with a discussion of how I was defective for not wanting one of my own. I pushed down my makeshift house, scattering the coasters into a haphazard mess, my brain and emotions mimicking the chaos. Jemmy pulled my phone out of my purse and slid it toward me through the disarray. Call your mom, babe. We'll figure out the rest later, right?